Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is May 16th, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament. We are in the book of Numbers, and we're going to read chapter 16 and 17, so another long one, but these do go together. What's going on in our story? Well, we just had the Israelites leaving Mount Sinai and start their journey. They made it to the Promised Land. They sent the spies in. The spies came back, and 10 of the 12 lied and said, "Oh, no, that's terrible. We can't go in there. It's too scary. We can't do it. We can't do it." And the people listened to them and not the two spies that said, "Hey, you know what? Everything that God promised us is there. Let's go get it." All right. So in God's so God punishing the disobedient says, "All right, you're not going to go to heaven, or you're not going to go into the Promised Land." In fact, He was going to wipe them out completely and say, "Let's just start over with the ones that want to go in there." Moses talks them out of it. The people repent, and God says, "Okay, I won't wipe you out, but you know what? I'm still going to not let you go into the Promised Land. That's for people who trusted me, and you didn't trust me, so you're going to wander again." As soon as He solves that one, well, then Aaron and Miriam want to get involved in the disobedient action, and they want to start complaining against, "Well, how come Moses gets all the special treatment?" And God punishes them until they repent. Great. Then He gives us a little section of some laws again and reiterates those laws and talks about their obedience and gets the people on board. And then we have some guy going out and gathering sticks and doing some work on the Sabbath day. All right. So God says, "All right, punishment for that is death. Have him killed." So he is killed. And it seems kind of harsh to us. But again, as we're looking at sin, it's those little sins. You get a little sin and you let that go, then the next time you got a bigger sin, and the next time it's a bigger sin. So he has that little sin of one person disobeys the Sabbath, and then we're going to get in here where now the priests want to fight and say, "Hey, how come we're priests and we're working in the tabernacle? We should have the same rights as Moses. We should have the same glory as Moses." And God has to settle that one and punishes them. Awesome. Now the people should really be, every stratus has been punished and taught to be obedient. We should be okay, and we should continue our, nope, now the people want to get back in on the action, and now they want to complain about who should be in charge. So we're going to see a whole bunch of disobedience that gets punished to bring them back into alignment with God. And it ends with God saying, "You know what? We're going to settle this once and for all. There's 12 tribes, and there's the Levites. The head of every tribe, bring me a staff. We're going to put it in front of my altar. You come back the next day, and you're going to know which one I approve of and who's speaking for me." And one of the staffs buds and essentially comes to life, and that settles it. Now we know who God is. Well, it settles it for now, but because we're going to see as we keep going through this book, it doesn't last long. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Numbers chapter 16. "Now Korah the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram the son of Eliab, and On the son of Pelah, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, representatives of the congregation, men of renown. They gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, 'You take too much upon yourselves, for all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourself above the assembly of the Lord?' So when Moses heard it, he fell on his face, and he spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, 'Tomorrow morning the Lord will show who is his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him. That one whom he chooses he will cause to come near to him. Do this, take censers, Korah and all your company, put fire in them, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow, and it shall be that the man whom the Lord chooses is the Holy One. You take too much upon yourselves, you sons of Levi.' And Moses said to Korah, 'Hear now, you sons of Levi, is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the work of the tabernacle of the Lord, to stand before the congregation to serve them, and that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you? And are you seeking the priesthood also? Therefore you and all your company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that you complain against him?' And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the son of Eliab, but they said, 'We will not come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you should keep acting like a prince over us? Moreover, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? Will you not come up? We will not come up.' And Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, "Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I hurt one of them." And Moses said to Korah, "Tomorrow you and all your company be present before the Lord, you and they as well as Aaron. Let each take his censer and put incense in it, and each of you bring his censer before the Lord, 250 censers, both you and Aaron, each with his censer." So every man took his censer, put fire in it, had laid incense on it, and stood at the door of the tabernacle of meeting with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment." And they fell on their faces and said, "O Lord, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and you be angry with all the congregation?" So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the congregation, saying, Get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." And Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, "Depart now from the tents of these wicked men. Touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins." So they got away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives, their sons, and their little children. And Moses said, "By this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own will. If these men are died naturally like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates a new thing, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord." Now it came to pass, as he finished speaking all these words, that the ground split apart under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, and all the men with Korah with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them, and they perished among the assembly. Then all Israel who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up also." And a fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Tell Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest to pick up the censers out of the blaze, for they are holy, and scatter the fire some distance away. The censers of these men who sinned against their own souls, let them be made into hammered plates as a covering for the altar, because they presented them before the Lord. Therefore they are holy, and they shall be a sign to the children of Israel." So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers which those who were burned up had presented, and they were hammered out as a covering on the altar, to be a memorial to the children of Israel, that no outsider who is not a descendant of Aaron should come near to offer incense before the Lord, that he might not become like Korah and his companions, just as the Lord had said to him through Moses. And the next day all the congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the people of the Lord." Now it happened, when the congregation had gathered against Moses and Aaron, that they turned toward the tabernacle of meeting, and suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of meeting, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment." And they fell on their faces. So Moses said to Aaron, "Take a censer and put fire in it from the altar, put incense on it, and take it quickly to the congregation and make atonement for them, for wrath has gone out from the Lord, the plague has begun." Then Aaron took it as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the assembly, and already the plague had begun among the people. So he put on the incense and made atonement for the people, and he stood between the dead and the living, so the plague was stopped. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the Korah incident. So Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, for the plague had stopped. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, and get from them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each man's name on his rod, and you shall write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi, for there shall be one rod for the head of each father's house. Then you shall place them in the tabernacle of meeting before the testimony where I meet with you, and it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose will blossom. Thus I will rid myself of the complaints of the children of Israel which they make against you." So Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and each of their leaders gave him a rod apiece, for each leader according to their father's house, 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moses placed the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. Now it came to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted and put forth buds, had produced blossoms, and yielded ripe almonds. Then Moses brought out all the rods from before the Lord to all the children of Israel, and they looked, and each man took his rod. And the Lord said to Moses, "Bring Aaron's rod back before the testimony, to be kept as a sign against the rebels, that you may put their complaints away from me, lest they die." Thus did Moses, just as the Lord had commanded him, so he did. So the children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, "Surely we die, we perish, we all perish. Whoever even comes near the tabernacle of the Lord must die. Shall we all utterly die?" May God bless the reading of his word. May God bless you. Bye.